In this video, I had the pleasure of talking to Henson Wu, one of the founders of Feedback Whiz, about how to get reviews in 2020 in a very automated process. We go over what exactly Feedback Whiz and what they're all about, some of the big red flags to avoid when you're reaching out to your customers to ask for a review, as well as one of the main best tools that I personally have used throughout this year to get one of my products from 1,000 to 2,000 reviews within the last few months. Henson is also willing to share with us some of the recent and up-and-coming tools of Feedback Whiz, which I found super useful and of value, so you're definitely not going to want to miss this video. See you guys there. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Prestige Amazon FBA YouTube channel. As you can tell, we have a little bit of a different scene here. We do have a special guest, but if you guys have been following the channel for a little bit, for the last few videos I have been releasing, I talk about some of the top do's and don'ts for me personally for getting reviews and, not how to get reviews in 2020 and moving forward. But if you guys don't know this familiar face, this is Henson. He's repping from Feedback Whiz, and he could probably do a better introduction than I can. So welcome, Henson, and thank you for coming onto the Prestige YouTube channel. If you could please introduce yourself and let us know what Feedback Whiz is all about.
Hey, Andy. Thanks for inviting me on today, and happy to talk to you guys about Feedback Whiz and all the different review strategies that we have in place. For people that don't know Feedback Whiz, we're basically just an Amazon software provider. So we help Amazon sellers increase feedback, product reviews, profits. The software is basically help you guys automate and simplify a lot of the manual labor that it takes to get reviews these days from Amazon. And with all these strict Amazon communication guidelines and different crackdowns on how to get reviews, it's tough to get reviews these days. So you have to kind of follow what are the white hat strategies. And, using automation is one of the things you can do to get yourselves more reviews. So
yeah, totally. I think I've been using Feedback Whiz for the better half of this year, and I've known Feedback Whiz for a while. Robbie and Henson from Feedback Whiz for a while now, from a few seller meetups. So definitely had the pleasure of meeting them in person, which is why I love to have Henson on this channel as well, because I consider Feedback Whiz and Henson one of the gurus, as people would like to call it in the Amazon space, but of getting feedback and reviews. But there's a lot of softwares out there for getting reviews and automating this entire process. But I love Feedback Whiz because it makes it so easy, and I know that I'm staying within terms of service, because I've personally gotten my email sending privileges removed for a little bit. So I guess from Feedback Whiz, what are some of the differentiations, or how do you guys differentiate yourself from the other softwares that are currently on the market?
Main difference between our software and there's so many different types of automation software out there for getting reviews is we really try to focus on collecting as much data as we can from the information of your customer orders. So for example, like all the events that happen, like if they left you a feedback, or you used a coupon code, or if you returned a product, refunded a product, we have all these data points, and what we use is those data points to help you guys maximize reviews. Whether it's you want to target a specific audience, like repeat buyers, to get reviews, whether you want to exclude certain types of orders like that came in, for example, if they refunded the product, returned it, left you negative feedback. We have all this information, so we can help you automate what it is that you're targeting. So, whether you're trying to get seller feedback, whether you're trying to get product reviews, having this data is very important. And then having the ability to send it out when you want it to, grouping together products that are, similar. For example, if you're selling toys or you're selling supplements, there's always different times when you want to ask for reviews. You don't want to always ask for reviews in the same exact time frame. So our software helps you manage all these, and you have all these different ways to tweak your campaigns to maximize reviews and minimize negative reviews.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things here is the automation. Like Amazon, people are flocking to Amazon and Amazon FBA because it's very hands off. A lot of things are very automated. But with like a lot of the recent updates, as mentioned, I got my email to customer to, or the emails that I could send to my customers. I recently got that removed, not recently, but a few months ago. I had a month suspension because of the terms that I was using in my follow-up messages. Again, one of the reasons why I love Feedback Whiz is because it's very automated and a lot of the things are very already templated out for you. So there have been some recent changes in terms of what you can include in messages. With Feedback Whiz, you don't really have to worry about that, but could you talk a little bit about, what are some of the recent changes in terms of, certain words you can include, certain words and phrases that are frowned upon in the messages that you do send out to your customers?
Yeah, so as a seller, it doesn't matter what tool you use. It could be Feedback Whiz, it could be any other tool out there. It's still your responsibility to understand the communication guidelines, and you want to follow or just keep up to date with all the rules. Um, so as much as we try to do as Feedback Whiz, we will try our best to help you guys prevent from getting restricted. So for example, with these new communication guidelines, there's rules saying that you can only ask for one product review request or seller feedback per order, meaning you can only send out one email or
Yeah.
use the review request button once, right? So for us, it's like, all right, there's a lot of sellers that don't know about that. So within our app, we'll put restrictions in to make sure that you only do it once per order. So if you try to do it twice per order, you accidentally set up a campaign to target the same ASIN, will prevent you from doing that, right? Or for example, if you put in your email address inside your templates, or you're sending it out to the wrong language of the buyer's preference, will also detect those kind of things and prevent you from doing it. So there's a lot of value in picking what kind of app you want to use. You just want to make sure your provider has all these type of things in place. We also do provide things like templates that we created ourselves to make sure that we're trying to stay compliant with what Amazon wants. So you can use those pre-built templates as a reference or guide, but it doesn't mean you can't modify it or write it in your own personalized language. You have the ability to do that. You just got to make sure you understand the rules. So getting into what are some of the changes, really, Amazon really is saying that they don't want you sending out messages through buyer seller messaging unless it's for specific reasons, which is like resolving an issue with an order fulfillment, requesting additional information to complete an order, asking like a return related question, sending an invoice, or scheduling like a delivery if it's like a heavy or bulky item, verifying a custom design. Or they made it clear now that you can request a product review or seller feedback. So that's awesome. Before they didn't really write that, and it's always been very vague what you can do. So they made it very clear you can do that. So regarding requesting a product review or seller feedback, you just have to make sure you're following the rules within that template. So which is, you don't want to incentivize the review. You don't want to ask them for like a 5-star feedback or 5-star review, or have any conditional statements saying like, hey, if you loved our product, could you write us a review? If you had an issue with our product, please contact us, right? So that's considered like suggestive language, and they just want you to write. If you're asking for review with buyer seller messaging, they want you to say it in a very neutral type of manner and tone. And they don't want you to tie all these like marketing gimmicks, giving coupon codes, directing them to your website. So those are kind of obvious things that sellers, a lot of newer sellers don't understand. The more seasoned sellers, they all know that. They're just saying, okay, well, they're tightening the knob now, and we just have to follow the rules.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably one of the most frequent questions that I get most often, especially from my students. Like, what can I include in my inserts, especially like card inserts, and the email follow-up messages as well. Like, can you include like a 20% off discount code if they subscribe to your email list or something like that? Or there's definitely a lot of red flags that are in place from Amazon that Feedback Whiz just kind of takes out that stress for, because a lot of it's pre-templated that you can use. I find extremely useful. But now that you guys have come out with the new, request a review button, I think that's been a huge thing for a lot of sellers. For me, I think it's probably one of the quickest ways I've been able to get feedback and reviews, to be honest, especially if you're doing volume. So I think that's one of the best and favorite tools from you guys that has just come out that I use so very often, and probably one of the most used tools that I have now. Can you talk a little bit about that? Just because I was previously using, and I was previously recommending to use the Sellerized Chrome extension, which is another Chrome extension that integrates with your Amazon platform Seller Central account, and then you just simply hit the button. But now you don't even need to do that with Feedback Whiz because it's all automated, and there's more filters in place, which allows me for less stress as well. So would you mind talking a little bit about that, because that's pretty exciting to me, especially.
Yeah, so for people that don't know what the Amazon Request Review button is, it's basically inside Seller Central orders details page. There's a button that you can click on, and then Amazon will send an email on their behalf. It's a templated email specific from Amazon, and it will ask the buyer for a review and feedback. So it's very simple because it doesn't require you to do anything, right? It's sent from Amazon. Everything's compliant. It's translated into the buyer's preferred language. It's really easy to use, right? The only problem is if you're selling and you have a lot of orders, then you have to go in and click on each one by one, right? And it's frustrating because it takes time. And then there's these Chrome extensions that they've been out for a year, which are great too, because it helps you automate the process. However, you have to have a browser open, your computer has to be on, and your Seller Central is just open and being exposed. And it's not really the best solution because, like I said, it's just requires a lot of things to happen, right? And sometimes it might not work. With Feedback Whiz now, we have a way to directly integrate that button within our app. So you don't need to have a Chrome extension. It just runs by itself. We connect it to your Seller Central, and you have the ability to set up campaigns. Like I mentioned earlier, we have all these different data points. So you can set up campaigns specifically to target specific products to send out at a specific time, and exclude events that happen. So if your buyer returned the product, you obviously don't want to ask them for review, right? And with Seller Central, there's no way to know, right, which order has returned. You have to kind of spend a lot of time to dig in and click on each one to figure it out. And one of the best benefits of Feedback was really is that we've came up with our own way to get the refund data. So the difference between refunds and returns is that when Amazon basically tells the seller that a return happened, that's when the buyer has actually physically returned the product back to Amazon, right? And that could happen 30 days after the order's been placed. And if you're asking someone for a review, you're usually asking someone within that 30-day window. And if they return the product, there's a very high chance you're going to get a negative review.
Yeah.
So what we've done here is we figured out a way for you guys to add this on as an additional email recipient inside Seller Central. So when that refund happens, so refunds is like the initial kind of when someone initiates a return, you have to send them a refund. So when refunds happen, that's like instant. We know right away, right? So we get that email from Amazon as a copy, and then we take that information and we feed it back into your Feedback Whiz account. So that refund data is like real time, right? So if you have a refund exclusion on Feedback Whiz, I mean, it's like you're not going to be sending any emails to those kind of people. So little things like that really make a huge difference in terms of not just getting more reviews, but trying to eliminate the negative reviews.
Yeah, no, I definitely actually did not know that. So that's really good information to know. I think that's one of the things that I was stressed most about, and what a lot of people are stressed most about, because prior to using Feedback, I was using those Chrome extension, and I was recommending those Chrome extensions because it was super convenient. It was kind of like that shotgun approach where you kind of just ask everybody for a review or a rating. But now that you can have that filter, it's for the longevity of your business as well as the products that you sell, it is going to have a huge impact. Although it may be small now, if you're selling 100 units a day and you're getting 10 reviews or ratings each day, you don't want to mix in those returns and poor feedback points in there too. So I think Feedback Whiz does an amazing job with that, and I've definitely seen a huge increase in the feedback and ratings that I do get, and more so on the positive end as opposed to the negative ones if they were to return the product. So definitely thank you for explaining that. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite tools now. But you guys are constantly coming out with some new things, updates to the app and software. Do you want to share anything that you want to give a sneak preview to? Anything big? I know you guys are playing by Amazon's rules, and based on any updates they have, you guys will adapt to those changes. But it's always cool to hear new things.
Yeah, so with regards to the communication policy, we have a lot of checks, like I mentioned, that are going to be in place. So not just besides the actual content itself of what you're writing and sending, which we can't really control, there's a lot of styling criteria that Amazon says, like you can't have pictures, emojis anymore, right? That kind of sucks.
That was a big
You
one.
can't have like tracking pixels for open rate data, right? So we can't get open rates anymore. So that sucks too,
Yeah.
right? And there's a bunch of styling things like max width, different font, color, height. So we put all these checks in place to make sure that you guys don't violate it, right? Because it's not something you guys need to worry about. And then there's also that 17-digit order ID that Amazon now requires. If you're using buyer seller messaging, you have to have that 17-digit order ID somewhere inside the email. So we also make sure that's in there for you. So these are the little changes that we have for sending emails and review requests. But we have a brand new tool that's actually been in beta for like 3 or 4 months now. It's a profits and accountings tool.
Oh,
So
nice.
this one's pretty awesome because again, it's a lot of data with everything from your PPC to your sales to inventory. All that information is now populated inside the app, and then it gives you the ability to really view what are your sales, what are your profit margins, enter your cost of goods, your expenses, set different time frames. Excuse me. So the biggest difference between this profits and accounting tool and what's currently out there really is that we try to help you guys customize what kind of data you want to see. So for example, for new sellers, it might not matter so much because you might be selling 1 or 2 products. But as a bigger seller, you could be starting to sell different brands like, electronics, you could be selling toys, right? You have all these different categories now. With Feedback Whiz, we allow you to have the ability to group together any ASINs you want and tag them and label them as, group A, group B, like electronics,
Nice.
brand 1, brand B. And then you can take that data and view it in any time frame and look at all the different metrics for just those brands, right? Or those products in those specific marketplaces in whichever currency you want. So just gives you a lot more flexibility to look at, profit data itself, right? Which is really important. I think a lot of Amazon sellers don't care. It's not they don't care about it. It's just they don't realize there's all these different fees, right? There's like there's tons of Amazon fees. There's like storage fees, and there's like business fees, and they don't really calculate everything together, right? So now we give you the ability to aggregate all this information together. You can see it all at once, and then you have all these different filtering and search options that you can easily figure out exactly, different trends, right? And the other big thing that we're building within this tool is the business analytics. So as a lot of people don't know that we track a lot of other things like product reviews that come in, right? So we know when product reviews come in, we know when things happen to your listing. We have all these different alerts set up, but no one really plots out these data points, right? They don't know when like when you change your image at this date, this time, or when someone hijacked your listing, or when a negative review came in. So our goal is to basically aggregate all this information together and allow you guys to track it. And then through graphs, you can see like what happens after these events happen. Like, did my profits go up? Did my profits go down? Right? Did I get more orders? Did I get more repeat customers? So all this information now can be digested like in a much easier way that, I don't think any other tool currently has.
Yeah, dang, that's awesome. Actually, I'm really excited now. I honestly did not know that stuff was coming. So this is all new to me. In regards to the profit calculator and the accounting part of the Feedback Whiz, is that already active and people can already use that, or?
It's currently in beta. If you're inside Feedback Whiz, you go to the account settings page. There's a little section called beta features, and then you just click on the
Mhm.
button to request it, and then we'll just enable it on your account for you. But this thing should be out like early November for
Oh,
general
awesome.
audience. Yeah, so we're
Okay.
almost there. We're almost there. Yeah, just
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. I think especially the accounting side of things, a lot of FBA sellers, that's not something they follow closely because that's not really their concern, especially when starting out. But when you guys are growing a business, it's really important to be able to track, where your profits and losses are, to be able to grow the business at, whatever rate that you can afford to. A lot of people are just, trying to launch products as quickly as possible, not keeping track of how much money they're spending. And then all of a sudden at the end of the year, they're like, how did I lose $20,000?
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's super helpful, and it's all included in the package. I'm assuming so. I think that's going to be a huge value add to Feedback Wiz, in addition to the already convenience that they're providing me and a lot of other sellers as well. And in regards to it's very data driven. A lot of what happens on Amazon. So for the last tool that you just spoke of, do you guys have a projected date for that?
Um, I mean, if you want to use it now, it's usable, right?
Oh,
We
okay.
haven't, so we're probably talking about like in a week or so. Like we're very close to launching it to
Oh,
everybody. So yeah,
awesome.
we're
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay,
So
awesome.
maybe
That's
by the time
super
this
exciting.
video is released, it's already out. I don't know. Right?
Hopefully this video will be released this Thursday. So
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be a good pump up for everybody else. But is there anything else you wanted to share while you were here, Benson?
Um, I mean, yeah, as a company, as well, I'm doing, I used to be an Amazon seller myself, and I understand there's just, so many different things that you have to take care of and make sure, you're doing right. Otherwise, your
Yeah,
business is just kind of hang on the line, right? So, fortunately for me, I kind of migrated into the software space, and we're here just trying to always brainstorm and create new ideas, revolutionary to just help sellers, push the limits, right? We want to make sure that it's compliant, but at the same time, it's helpful, right?
yeah.
So yeah, if anyone has any suggestions or ideas, questions, whatever features you guys want to see, maybe that just let us know, and then we'll let you know if that's something we can provide.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. I know you guys have a big social media presence as well. You guys have a YouTube channel, Facebook group. Do you know where people can find you? Could you shout that out? I'll be sure to leave it down below as well.
Yeah, so any social media channel, just type in Feedback Whiz, and then you'll find us there. So Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you'll see our pages, and then you can join our groups.
Awesome. Sounds good. As mentioned, I'll leave all of those links down below directly to Henson and Feedback Wiz. But thank you, Henson. I just wanted to, thank you for coming on to the Prestige Amazon FBA YouTube channel. We definitely appreciate you. I appreciate you. And I love Feedback Wiz. So we'll definitely catch you soon and be in contact.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Cool. See you next time.
Awesome. See you.